Welcome everybody on a Friday night. Hope everybody's doing good. We got a lot to cover tonight, so I'm going to wait for a few people to get in here before I play something of a public interest that I want to play on. But I want to remind everybody while we're waiting for everybody to come in, the girl from Florida that we featured last time, this girl here, she is still missing. At least it was last time I checked about 5:30 tonight. The husband did an interview. He said there'd never been any problems and she wasn't mad. And for whatever reason, they have not found her or her vehicle. This is her vehicle. If you remember, it is. If maybe some of you take a screenshot of that and put it on your Facebook pages. She has not been found yet, and they've upped the reward to $10,000 also. And they are still actively searching. Their friends and their the husband and the brother and everybody's actively searching. But they still have not been found yet. I welcome everybody tonight. I'm glad you're with us. I'm going to start off by playing something that I think is really a public emergency. If you've got kids and if they are on TikTok, there is a new challenge out there, a TikTok challenge that has killed people. It's killed 2 or 3 young people. I'm going to play a video on it right now.
Social media challenge has resulted in the death of an Oklahoma City teenager. The 15-year-old girl overdosed while taking what is being called the Benadryl challenge on TikTok. The apparent goal of the challenge is to hallucinate after taking a dozen or more doses of the pill. The same challenge was blamed for the hospitalizations of at least 3 teens in Texas back in May. Doctors say large doses of Benadryl can cause seizures and heart arrhythmia. The girl's friends and loved ones are asking parents and others to monitor teen social media accounts to keep this from happening to other families.
Now, you know, this challenge that was going around with the, I don't know, that stuff, that chocolate milk stuff or something, they breathed it up and they got caught in their throat and stuff, that's just dangerous. People don't realize how dangerous that is. And holding your breath, they were doing it till they passed out. That's dangerous too. And that's not just like, you know, like you see people doing crazy stunts and say, oh, it's dangerous to do that. I mean, that's truly dangerous stuff. You know, I've heard of in the past people laying in the middle of the road. They're seeing how long they could last without getting run over. That I don't understand that. That's just stupid. But that is something you need to make your kids, even talk to your kids about that. If they're on TikTok, talk to them and tell them, you know, hey, how dangerous this is. I know somebody that took a bunch of Benadryl and almost died from it. They were trying to kill themselves, almost died. So you need to discuss that with your kids. Find out what's going on and with their life about TikTok and make sure they're not taking any challenges. And what they do that for, they do it online so that they can get a lot of views. That's all it is. And it's costing people their lives for sure. I checked. I still not seeing the Leah Cabot that remains have been covered. I haven't seen the report on there yet. I don't know. Somebody claimed they did last time, but I have not seen it. They did. A couple of YouTubers were checking and covering the Natalie Jones case, and they found her car. And somebody said that car wasn't there, but that information is false. The car, they believe, has been there for a couple of months. The reason why is the landowner had hired a guy to bush hog the area because people were going out there in the past and been partying, drinking and stuff. He was going to put cameras up. The guy doing the bush hogging found the car. So it wasn't visible from the road, and it was there. He said they don't know when. They said they didn't know when the last time they've been out there. So that information apparently is false. That they believe the car has been out there for at least a couple of months. So the autopsy, they are going to do an autopsy and find out to find out what exactly caused her death. But there's a lot of false information running around about the car has not been out there for any length of time, but apparently it had. It'd been like a couple of months even. First other case we want to cover tonight, and the reason why I said, listen, I could have featured 100 missing women since the first of the year. It's just amazing. It is amazing. Few missing men, but a lot of them were fishing, swimming, stuff like that, where you would think they might have fell over in the water and hit their head and drowned. There wasn't very few that were the case where the guy goes to work and never returns. First one I want to talk about is Sonny Shamrock. This was from 2009, Trenton, Nebraska. She is missing. This is some of her other pictures of her. Quite a bit of pictures from her. She date of birth is 2001. She has a tattoo on her left shoulder of a feather and the letters fly. She also has a tattoo on her right ankle of tribal sun in red ink. Multiple scars on her body, including a rectangle scar on her back, upright right shoulder, a square-shaped scar in the middle of her forehead, scarring on one of her ankles and shins from a bike pedal, scars from chicken pox on her face, scars on her left hand, bottom thumb, forefinger, cuts on her arm. Wow, she's had a rough life. On April 20th, 2019, she left Trenton, Nebraska with a male individual allegedly on a trip to Omaha, Nebraska, but has not been heard from since. Seen wearing denim shorts, black tank top, also in the possession of a pair of jeans and a hoodie. Last seen in a 2004 white Ford Explorer bearing tags Idaho Hotel Golf Juliet 341. And I don't understand. Probably the FBI has already looked that tag number up and found out the name and either is looking for this guy or possibly ruled him out. There's very little information I could find in reference to this case. Also, there's 2 young infants missing in Baltimore. Police said they arrested the mother for apparently she had violation of a court order and did not return with the children, but the children are missing. 4-month-old Kennedy Haynes, 1-year-old Harley Haynes. After the mother, and I can't pronounce her first name, I don't want to butcher it, Tenson Haynes, 21, found and arrested on outstanding warrants. So they're missing in Baltimore. We don't know where they are, but these are the kids. We ask it if you're in Baltimore area that you be on the lookout for these kids. It's be very tough to find them if you see them, unless you see somebody that looks like they're not their parents, or possibly, I wouldn't have any idea to be able to. Babies look like babies to me. It's just very, very hard to tell. But they are asking for everybody to be on the lookout. Also, a quick reminder, these right here, these are 2 girls from Cleveland. I think I read one of them is like 13, the other's like 10 or 8. They got mad at their parents because of their discipline situation, and they ran away from home. So they're missing in the Cleveland area. These kids don't realize what danger they're in of being human trafficking. by running away. So we're hoping these two are found very quickly. If you're in the Cleveland area or know these two girls, Pickney is their last name. Please call police and tell them where they are. I know their parents are worried about them.
Andy said, you pronounced the mother's name of the two missing children, the babies, Kalia.
Kalia? Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it. I want to talk about one other in a little bit more detail. This is Monica Decker. She went missing on April the 8th of 2020. And here she left her car, her cell phone, and other personal belongings behind. And she's believed to be with a man named Toby Roberts. And they are last seen to be in the Wilmington, Vermont area. Now, the issue with this is that they believe that she would have contacted her family, that she would have never, ever left her family wondering what happened to her. The family continues to search for her, but they have not located either one of these people. The information I had as of late, she hasn't heard from her or seen her. They want to make sure that she's okay and did leave on her own. They say she don't believe the mother is safe. Don't feel like, that she left on her own. She's 52 years old at the time of her disappearance. Now she'd be 53. Described as 5'3" to 5'5" tall, weighing approximately 185 to 195 pounds, with brown hair and brown eyes. They have pretty much no further information on her. Apparently she was pretty close to one of the grandchildren that is suffering from some type of mental defect, or being maybe some type of autism or something like that. But anyway, she can't be found anywhere. They just want to find out she's okay. It's not against the law to disappear. You can where you're going, but it's nice if you tell your family where you're going, because it just you got to wonder, what was she thinking, and if this guy is holding her captive, or if he's preventing her from calling her kids or anything. It's a very sad situation. But at least they know who she last was with, and they can put out a bolo, be on the lookout. But you just don't know. Now I'm going to talk about, there's another one. See, I'm just going through these tonight because I was upset the fact that every time I turned around, there was another person missing out there. Women, especially, tonight we're featuring. But they just seem like they, they're without a trace. They can't find them anywhere. And I'm going to tell you, if you got a car tag, if you got a missing person with a car tag, police will do, from my experience, when I was in law enforcement, that's what we would do. We would take the car tag and we'd enter it in NCIC, the National Crime Information Computer. And what it is, if that car has been stopped since the report or past, say it wouldn't report, we didn't report them for a month because of whatever reason, and it was been stopped the first week that she was actually missing, NCIC is going to kick it up. And if it just say your person's missing, and 2 days you report it, and down the road they get a stop for speeding ticket, and they run that tag for any reason, it's going to pop up, boom, missing person report. Or they, if they happen to have something in the car that has a serial number on it that's entered in the NCIC. So, you know, an NCIC has all the stuff like criminal histories in it, that has all stolen vehicles, all stolen items that is entered in this national crime computer. And then each state has their own computers. In Alabama, we got what we call a CGIS. And a CGIS handles all the driver's license information in Alabama and anything to do with the Alabama stuff, you know, like your local stuff. But your national, your NCIC will handle all your criminal histories, all of your wanted people, all of your stolen vehicles or stolen cars, or any stolen property where you have a serial number. That's what NCIC handles. There's a couple of cases that I want to get into, and this whole video was almost taken around these two cases. There's a place called Plant City, Florida. Someone sent me an email in reference to this before, but they was talking about 3 people. I could only locate 2 that needs to be talked to, and I couldn't locate the third one right off the bat. There's a couple of women that are missing down there. Several women that have gone missing out of Tampa area and Plant City years ago, like 2012, 2013, 2014, that they have never found and never saw what happened to them. But these 2 girls, and I want you to look at the face, not necessarily the body type or anything, but the face, they kind of favor. And they had mysterious circumstances of how they went missing. And one actually reminded me a little bit of Susan Morphew about how that happened. This one and that I want to cover, it's just kind of weird. This one here, the girls, Veronica Reyes Diaz, last seen January the 18th, 2020, when she picked up her kids from her sister's house in Plant City, Florida. Now, what happened in this case, and we're going to read a little bit more about it. Right here, I'm going to let you read with me. Veronica Diaz, 23, last seen in the early morning hours, Saturday, January 18, 2020. Her father, and I'm not going to say Fernando.
No, there ain't no R in there.
Yeah. See, I butchered names, so I'm not going to even read it.
Fidencio.
Right. Anyway, her father told Dateline that Veronica had made plans to go out Friday night with a friend. Her husband stayed home with a 1-year-old. She took their 2 older sons, 4 and 5, to her sister's house in Plant City, Florida, 15 minutes away. She returned home and picked up by her friend later that night. Now, here's my issue with this whole scenario. 1, why was she out without her husband? And if she just went out with a couple of girlfriends, I understand that. But here had happened on the later part of the night. Around 1:15 a.m. on Saturday, Veronica's friend dropped her off at home, and then Veronica drove to her sister's house and picked up the boys and then returned home. According to her father, and see here, the husband's not going out and publicizing all this stuff. This is going back to the father. According to the father, one of the children was inside and put to bed. Her father and the father, I guess the father, said that when he appeared, she left the house again. So I guess she took the kids in, put them to bed, and then she left on her own. But her Yukon was found parked outside their home. Her keys and her wallet with cash inside were in the vehicle. Her father told Dateline her cell phone was pinged in the area over the weekend, but by Monday it had been turned off with no messages, calls going through. Now, it goes on to say that they wasn't worried at first. Now you go and you take your kids home, and then you take off again, and all of your stuff's around your house. Your husband's in there with your 1-year-old, and the parents aren't worried at first. I don't understand that. They said that they didn't believe she'd leave the kids, leave the kids because they were everything to her. Never leave her kids. On Monday, Veronica's family filed a missing person report and began a search. Assistant Chief Communications Officer Amanda Gannett of Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office told Dateline that Veronica's case is classified as a missing person case and that anyone with information is encouraged to call. He said it's actively being investigated, considered endangered, but no sign of foul play. I don't understand that. The family, however, believes the disappearance is completely out of character, frustrated at the lack of motivation in her case. And the big problem is sex trafficking in the area. I agree. But nearly 3 weeks after she vanished, the 28-year-old Kyla Taylor also vanished. And that's the next one that we're going to talk about. And these seemed almost to kind of favor each other. And the other one, they actually interviewed the boyfriend and polygraphed him, and he passed polygraph, to what I understand. So, my suspect is, I guess what I'm thinking is, did they possibly talk to the husband, and maybe they got, when she came in from being out with her girlfriend, that maybe he accused her of doing something and they got into a fight and something happened and poof, she vanished. I just don't know how soon they thought, or maybe they waited to the next day. It just seems really, really strange that, she would leave everything, go out again, and everything's still there. It's almost like they're insinuating that somebody picked her up outside that she knew. But I don't get that. I don't understand. This is the next one that vanished in the area. They don't look perfectly like in the face, but they do kind of have that brown hair look. Is it Celia? Celia? Would that be pronounced like that? Dana?
I'm sorry, what?
Celia, would that be how she pronounced her name?
Sia.
Sia. Okay, Sia
That's
Taylor.
what I would say, Sia.
Okay. This is a very strange case in itself. Nearly 3 months has passed. Anyone's heard from 28-year-old Florida resident. Her family is desperate for answers, worried about it every single day. According to the Sheriff's Department, around 4 p.m. on February 6, 2020, she dropped off her boyfriend at the Cowart Road, Plant City, Florida, at his home. She dropped him off at his home, a few blocks away from the call center where she worked. So obviously she worked at something close by. He was the last person to see her alive. We know that. A few hours later, around 7 o'clock, her black Toyota Solus was found abandoned about a mile away on a railroad tracks east of Tapnell Road. The engine is still running. Her belongings, including her cell phone, debit card, were in the car. Her sister-in-law, who traveled from Iowa to help with the search, told Dateline that unlike Sia,
it was unlike
her to leave her phone behind. So they're thinking maybe her car was running. I don't understand that. But she did go wherever she went. She left her phone behind. Reported missing, investigated, launched by the Sheriff's Department. Deputies questioned the boyfriend, and he allegedly the last person to see her alive, but no leads at this time. Well, they didn't say they polygraphed him. So, I read too somewhere that they found some of her shoes down the railroad track too. So I don't, it's just, This one is another one where the last person to see him alive is going to be the suspect, I would think. You know, I don't know for sure, but I would think so. And they don't have any other leads in their case, or at least no leads that they're reporting on. But there's two together. Now I'm going to show you the picture here. Now I realize they don't look exactly alike, but you know what I mean? They kind of favor a little bit. And there's one more too, but I could not find. They must have found her. But there's several people that are been missing over the United States that in the last couple of months they found them deceased. And so I don't know if you know, a lot of them were boyfriends killed them, or they end up not. They don't know who killed them. Must be getting a Amber Alert on your phone.
Oh, hey. Yeah, I'm on live with Tommy.
This one comes out of Alabama, Midfield, Alabama, my home state.
Okay.
It's been 3 weeks right here. This was according. She was missing on February the 17th, and at this report, it had been 3 weeks. She would never. And they said that what happened with this one is she went walking down to a neighborhood store, and at 11 o'clock at night. Now, her parents said she would never walk out on her children. This is another one that had kids at the house, and that her boyfriend or husband or whatever was there at the house, saying that her mother said she didn't understand why she would leave the house if she had a car in the yard. But, you know, and February is kind of cool, even in Alabama. It can be cold, so that would be a oddity to me. Even if I've got a store right up the road from our house, and I would not walk up there in February to get something. If it had been in the fall or something, maybe. Why?
No, you wouldn't. You might take your electric bike, but
Yeah,
there ain't
well,
no way you would walk 3 or 4 miles.
No, it's not 4 miles. This is right up the road, a block.
Oh, well,
Block away.
okay.
And that store up there is only about a block. So, and she was going out at 11 o'clock, walk up there about a block away to get cigarettes. Well, I kind of doubt that she would do that in February. My birthday's in February, and it's cold in February. So that's the one thing. Their parents even questioned that.
You're missing a bunch of stories that are going on right now, because quite a few of our subscribers have had near abduction experiences, or their children have. It's pretty amazing. CJ Sleuth's daughter was almost abducted in Ohio a few years ago. A man in a car asked for directions and was naked from the waist down. He tried to grab her, but she got away.
Wow, that is...
Denise was almost gotten.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it's crazy.
It is, and I'm glad that y'all survived. I can't imagine the fear and just everything, the trauma of that, PTSD of that even, you know?
Well, when Dakota was 4 months old, Tommy dropped me off at the Kroger store, and he went to park the car because it was raining. And a man was standing on the outside of the window, and he kind of waved his hand, and I took Dakota's little hand and waved it. And the guy had on a trench coat, but it was raining. He walked into the store, and he told me that his child had died 3 months before that. And he asked me, could he hold my son? And I told him, no, he wasn't feeling well. He attempted to pull him out of my arms, and I screamed, "There comes my husband," and he took off running. That was such a fearful time for me. I can't even imagine somebody getting a hold of my child.
I can't imagine that. Excuse me. We'll talk about it we'll talk about some of the stuff in a couple of minutes. And if y'all hang around to the end of this, I've got them to play a little tape of our dogs and stuff in the yard. So some of you asked me to show you some of my dogs and my animals. So if you'll hang on to the end of this live stream, I'm going to show you some stuff. Those short film.
I like this. Russell said a peeping Tom in Charlotte was going to Cracker Barrel restaurant watching little girls in the stall. A dad found out and beat the living tar out of him.
In my opinion, he got what he deserved. Probably not quite what he deserved, but that was part of it. Let me finish this real quick here about
Julie.
the girl. What? Tiffany and her boyfriend had been living together 2 years, had a 3-month-old baby boy. Tiffany told his mother that the baby in their home and the father, so the father of the boyfriend, the baby was there when she disappeared. He told investigators that the baby and him had fallen asleep, and when he woke up, she was gone. That sounds a little suspicious. That does. It goes on saying that they checked with everybody and nothing. Absolutely. The older children, 12 and 7-year-old, were with their Tiffany's mother, Kathy, when she went missing. Kathy lives in Hueytown, 15-minute drive away. So the baby was home, with a natural father. I don't know. She's described as 5'4", 140 pounds. So, every one of these people like that seem to me to have a suspect in the house, pretty much, and I guess we'll never know unless they do make arrests in these cases. And, here's another thing too. The convenience store said that she never showed up. That's one thing I read. She never made it to the convenience store, and they actually were closing a little bit before 11 o'clock, to what I understand. So, it looks funny to me, and plus, and here somebody asked another live stream about Barry Morphew case, Susan Morphew case. They said, why hasn't there been an arrest yet? Well, you look at every one of these cases. There haven't been an arrest yet in those either, because it's going to take more evidence than just reasonable suspicion to do that. You're going to have some hardcore evidence, because you don't want to arrest somebody, take them to trial, and then they found not guilty. Then you'll never be. I mean, if OJ, in my opinion, OJ was guilty. So if OJ could have, right after the verdict, could have set up and said, well, y'all fooled every one of you. He could have said he did it. He did it, and he enjoyed doing it. And there's nothing criminally that they could have done against him. He could not be tried again because it's double jeopardy. So if Barry's guilty, this is why they don't do it right now. I can't imagine. Having my child almost abducted. The one when it happened to Medina that day, I was all freaked out about it and I wanted to go find this guy, but he had already left. Up there where we were at that Kroger is a primarily lower income housing area. So, I mean, he could have ran right out in the middle of that area and we'd have never found him anyway. Does anybody have, does somebody want to tell us about an experience that you had, or, I read in the paper, not in the paper, but online, the online news all the time about our little town we live in now. And there's pedophiles here. There's all kinds of stuff. There's been kidnappings. They've been missing persons here, but, I'll tell you about a little missing person case that came up, and it's weird, but had a guy come in to see me at our store and saying that he believes somebody's trying to kill him. Said he knew where a murdered body was buried and he believes somebody was going to kill him. So he left and he was pretty shook up, and I called the police and told him, hey, I don't know what this guy's saying, but he claims that he knows where a murder is, and I don't even know the guy's name. And they took that all into consideration. I described what he looked like and what kind of vehicle he left in. Well, about 3 days later, we were watching, or on the internet, I was looking at the local news, and boom, he comes up as a missing person. After telling me he thought somebody was going to kill him. So I called down to the police department, talked to the head of investigations, and told him, I said, hey, you remember the guy I told you about the other day that said that he knew about a murder and these people are going to try to kill him? That is the guy. Well, he said, oh, well, that guy, he comes up missing a lot. I believe they found him. I never heard any more about it. Never had seen that guy again. So you can only do what you normally do,
Russell said he was going to move to the sticks, away from people. I told him just get an RV and move anytime he didn't like his neighbors.
There you go. Oh, absolutely. We actually moved. I mean, we do live in a fairly small town. I'd say it's probably 25,000, but we've got a lot of bigger towns around us. Huntsville's metro, I think, is about 300,000, now 350. We used to live in Huntsville. We have lived in a very small community before. We had a farm up in Tennessee.
There was 25 people,
25.
And when we left, there was 20.
Yeah, 25. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
There were 25 people up there. We took 5 of them out when we left.
We didn't take 5 people out. We
left.
left.
We left with 5 people.
That sounds like now there's only 15 people.
No,
gosh.
We actually, my dad left, and my son and daughter and my wife and me, but we were 25 miles away from a Walmart. We were kind of out in the sticks too, and we loved it, but there was crime out there too. You had people stealing things. Thieves are everywhere.
Well, you had a drug dealer that you knew lived right down the road.
Yeah, actually, when I was in narcotics and a bigger town close by, one of the drug dealers that we were dealing with, a smuggler, actually lived less than a mile from where our farm was. So, I actually called the police one night because there was a plane that came overhead, treetop level, with no lights on. He blinked his lights. And I thought that, was very suspicious. It was about 1 o'clock in the morning. So I called the sheriff's department. They told me they didn't have anybody working after 12 o'clock. And they could call somebody from home out. I just said, forget it. I mean, by the time y'all get out there, they'll be gone. A lot of counties do that. After 12 o'clock, there won't be anybody working. And if you have to call somebody out if there's something serious, it's amazing that that's what today, with as advanced as law enforcement is, that's how it is in some of your small rural areas.
Hey, Two Crime asked some of his people to come over here.
Well, I appreciate it. We would appreciate it if you subscribe. We are still having about 20% of the people that watch the videos never subscribe. So we would appreciate it if you would subscribe. We're trying to be 5,000 people by the end of the year. We are growing a little at a time, and we appreciate it if you subscribe and share. Fighting crime. What was that? Why do you have PTSD? I didn't hear exactly what. Why that was. Oh, I tell you, I don't think it's a lot. I don't think it's a lot of PTSD. I think it's just being careful. I'm constantly doing that. constantly trying to be careful. I always try to sit with my back towards the front door at restaurants. And my wife can absolutely drive me crazy by going in the restaurant first and sitting with her back towards the wall and facing out towards the door. It drives me nuts. I have to stand there and say, no, sit up. And I have to have my looking at the front door, my back facing the back of the restaurant. And that just comes from years of police work and being true to your, being aware of your surroundings all the time. Oh, your ex-husband tried to kill you 4 years ago? That's fighting crime 24/7. Wow. I'm glad he didn't. I'm glad that you survived. I tell you what, I hope that he was prosecuted. Unfortunately, in those situations, it is difficult for the courts to give them the punishment they deserve. It is very difficult. The court will. Hello, Two-Cram. Glad to see you here. It is very difficult for the courts to give them time. I don't understand that. I don't understand why that is, but some people say it's because most judges are men, and I'm not saying that that's not true in a lot of cases. I know we have they had some outstanding female judges where I used to live, and still sometimes they go on the man's side, and I don't understand that. I know that where I used to live, the DA is they got an awesome DA now. He was former FBI, just a really great pro-police DA. I don't know. I hope. Can you tell me if he did any time for that fighting crime? Did he do prison time for that? In Canada, you do not feel afraid?
I don't feel afraid here.
I'm not fearful. I mean, I'll tell you, I got an email. I don't want to say who it's from. I got a lengthy email, and I responded lengthy, and I hope I didn't make them mad. I didn't mean to make them mad if I did. They said that we were they were surprised, stunned by the carefree attitude towards and the love affair that Americans have with guns.
They were surprised that your wife knew as much as she did about guns.
And right. And how that she felt like that America was just gun and happy and people were getting killed all the time. And I told her, I said, I read her back some statistics from her own country where she was from. And believe it or not, it's more rising gun crime there than ever right now. And they have some of the strictest gun laws in the world. And I told her, it's just like our big cities like Chicago, New York. Chicago, for instance, has some of the strictest gun laws anywhere in the United States. You cannot have guns, own guns, anything. And to get a permit for a gun, it takes a year. But they have more murders than anywhere in the United States. Why? Because criminals are always going to be able to get them. Even in Australia, I got my friend in Australia, and he says that guns are outlawed over there, and he gave me some film of where they tore them, they ran over them, they propped everything. Still, criminals have guns. And I'll be honest with you, a lot of assaults happen with knives over there and swords and stuff. I would much rather be shot than stabbed. I mean, stabbed is just all kinds of bad stuff happens to you when you get stabbed. But, criminals are going to get guns. That's it. It doesn't matter. And I'd rather have an armed citizen, at least, our cities that are pro-gun, and there's a lot of guns, gun crime is down. It's down a lot. And another thing is that in America, we have all these big gun shows, and they'll be like 4,000 or 5,000 people there with guns. And it's, up to this date, there's never been a single shooting at a gun show or a murder at a gun show. You know why? Because everybody's got guns. So, you know, that's enough on that. But it's, you know, I don't have a problem with as long as it's legal to carry one, then, you know, it's up to you and how you feel about it. If you don't want guns, don't carry a gun. That's just how it is. We plan on traveling in Canada next year, hopefully. And I don't plan on carrying a gun. You can check in to Canada with a shotgun for protection from animals, but you can't for protection from people, evil people. But that's okay with me. I'll abide by the country's laws. I'm not going to do anything like that. You know, if I want to carry a shotgun to protect me from a bear or something, or a rifle, I'll check it in legally. You know, I don't have a problem in the world doing that. You know, I don't. I just really don't want to talk about it because people get so emotional about it, and I don't want to lose any people because I'm talking about guns when my goal of this channel is not to talk about guns, it's to talk about missing people. And, you know, I was just so surprised at the amount of missing people this year, and women and some men, and we're going to cover that too. One case that I'm still following every day is the Erica Lloyd case. She was the one that we covered before, the girl that went out to Joshua Tree. She was freaked out over the pandemic. She wanted to get away. She has a child at home. Everybody says she would never leave her child at home. She had a beauty salon. It was not open, so she was getting freaked out. She couldn't work. She decided to go on a road trip camping in Joshua Tree. But it's a pretty, you know, Joshua Tree is a pretty popular park. So, you know, they found her car abandoned on the side of the road with all the glass broken out of it and airbags exploded, and, you know, but she is nowhere to be seen. And, you know, I feel for these people. I feel for them. I really do. You know, it just seems like every day when you look up TV and stuff, somebody else is missing, vanished out of thin air. I mean, you know, we featured that girl from Florida, the one that was seen in Walmart buying vodka. So what? You know, that's how she's, and, you know, I noticed on Google, that's actually how, if you look up her name, that's mostly comes up. Florida, Bella, something, Florida. Girl last seen buying vodka. I mean, that's, you know, hey, people, she's missing. That's all we need to be concerned about. And where she is and what kind of mental state she's in or physical state she's in. But they need to find the car. They need to find the car, and they need to find her. I mean, this is looking like disappear forever type stuff. I mean, what I'm afraid of, they'll find the car, but she'll never be found. And you think about this. The girl that's missing in Florida there, Jennifer Geis, I think it is. Or not Geis, but Jennifer Kessie. Maybe that was it. Kessie or something like that. Anyway, that girl, she was around that area. You know, it's somewhere around Orlando, in that area. So, you know, I don't know. I like that. I didn't quite understand that. We're always talking about things that women need to do to not get killed. It's men that really need reality. Well, some men, let's say that. I've never put my hand on a woman. You know, I'm not gonna strike a woman out of anger. It's just not gonna happen.
Okay, so in our store, when people come in, if a man comes in and he says, you know, he wants to buy a gun or something, he says, I've got to check with my old lady first, that gets under my skin. I tell them, you don't have an old lady. You have the bride that you fell in love with, the one you're married to. You don't have an old lady.
Yeah, she does.
That's my pet peeve.
If I really want to kind of get under her skin a little bit, and not in a hateful way or trying to make her mad, I just want to get under her skin a little bit. I'll just say, "Where's my old lady at?" Yeah, that's not a good. There's not a good thing at all. Yeah, and if you if you want to share something with me, because I'm all about featuring people that we are concerned with too. If you want to email me, my email is at the bottom of the screen there. Let me know what you're interested in me following. Yes, the 800,000 missing children a year. You're right. One thing about it, when you look at that number, here's what you got to understand. 75% are runaways. But out of that 75%, a large number return home. But the others are on the street. They're human trafficked in one way or another. They're abused for food, for a place to stay. They get hooked on drugs. They get in that runaway culture. I like the cities that have the boys. I think they said it's not boys home, it's boys club. Boys club. It's basically in the big cities, they'll say so-and-so the boys club. And what that is that's actually a boys and girls place for runaways. They allow them to come in, they feed them, they house them, they get a medical treatment, they counsel them, they try to get them to call their parents. They don't make them. Now, the reason why they don't make them is because they do not want to alienate the street kids. If the street kids know that, I'm not going there, all they'll do is call my parents. And we don't know what kind of lifestyle they had at home. They could have been abused. They could have been beaten. They could have been neglected. We don't know. So they could have had somebody in the family, a stepfather, a stepson, a mother, a father. They could have been a pedophile. You just don't know. So what they do is try to encourage them to contact their parents. They encourage it, but they do not call the police, and they do not do it on their own. Now, some people have a real problem with that, but if you're going to be able to give these people shelter, food, medical care, stuff that they need, and get them off the street for some type of thing, try to counsel them, then you can't be that person that automatically calls their parents. Even though I have a real issue, if there ought to be some way to get a hold of the parents, because I can't imagine that I'd have a runaway child just for that. Some kids just run away, just like those two girls in Cleveland. Their parents disciplined them, probably well-deserved, and they took off. Very dangerous. Very, very dangerous. How many were here when we ran the thing about the Benadryl challenge? Is anybody here that was here that I didn't see the Benadryl challenge? I did it at the first of the stream. Anybody here that want to see it again? I think it's very important. If your kids are on TikTok, on the internet at all, and they get involved with something, these challenges, was anybody here that did not see it that wants to see it again? Do you know, Dina, if you read that?
Nobody. I'm reading them, but nobody has said. You got to give them a chance. You say it, and then you got to give them a chance to type. Okay.
I'm gonna give you a few minutes.
CJ missed it. Okay. Strawberry Wine missed it.
All right, listen.
Happy Little Accident missed it. Okay.
This is apparently going around through TikTok. People are dying from it. If you got kids on TikTok, on the internet, watch this and talk with your kids. It doesn't hurt to talk with them about anything like this.
Social media challenge has resulted in the death of an Oklahoma City teenager. The 15-year-old girl overdosed while taking what is being called the Benadryl challenge on TikTok. The apparent goal of the challenge is to hallucinate after taking a dozen or more doses of the pill. The same challenge was blamed for the hospitalizations of at least 3 teens in Texas back in May. Doctors say large doses of Benadryl can cause seizures and heart arrhythmia. The girl's friends and loved ones are asking parents and others to monitor teen social media accounts to keep this from happening to other families.
Now, I know we talked about it before, the past challenges, I don't know what they did with that powder, like chocolate powder. They did try to see how much you could put it in your mouth or whatever. I mean, it killed folks. And other things that they do is just, they did have a challenge, and I couldn't find a video on it. Maybe y'all could know what it is, where they called it Bash Your Head Challenge. Something, they were bashing their heads into concrete. I mean, look, we can look at that and say, are they insane? Are they insane? But when you look back in the 50s and the 60s and things that we did in the 70s, where you drive your car in the opposite lane, play chicken with a big truck, or you stand on the side of the window outside of your car. I mean, there's always been some type of things. They even had the guys who were laying down in the middle of the road on the dotted line. Just crazy stuff. Laying on a railroad track, see the last one to get off a railroad track before a train comes. I've heard of all kinds of stuff. Fortunately, I didn't do that. I did other stuff like, everybody does, not everybody, but a lot of people do drinking games and all kinds of stuff in college. And that can get you in trouble too. But let's see if there's any other things that I wanted to
I don't know.
show y'all. Is there any, maybe two crimes, if he's still here, can tell me, is there any other information that has occurred on the Morphew case or anything? I haven't heard anything else on that. Go back and I'll tell you about some emails that I've had. I had some emails telling me that I needed to move on from that case. I told you before, and I hope I don't lose subs by it, but we are going to keep on hot and heavy on this thing until she's found. I just don't believe that it would be in the best interest of the case for us to just forget about it, because I'm telling you, it will go cold. But like I said, I'm covering a bunch of other stuff too. I read probably about 20 or 30 cases every single day. And I try to pick out ones that have information. Today did not have a lot of information on any of them, other than there was a boyfriend or a husband at home when they went missing, which was odd, to say the least, and would limit me to be looking at them first.
Okay, True Crime said Suzanne Morphy's sister wrote a letter. It's in his community, or in their community.
Okay, I'll check that out. I hope that Andy and the Morphew family, or the Mormon family, do not forget about, and I'm sure they won't, but would not forget about this. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if they don't file a lawsuit for wrongful death in this case at some point in time, especially if there's not an arrest. But they're going to have some other evidence to do that. That's the way that the O.J. Simpson case happened against O.J. They got a not guilty verdict in a California court, so they sued him civilly. And with civilly, he has to testify. They do interrogatories. He cannot say, I'm not going to say anything. And that's how they got a lot of the information.
Russell said Thomas will be doing a show on my kids' missing cell phones.
No,
That's good.
I'm going to tell you, it really gets me. And listen, I'm not criticizing, okay? But it does get me. Thank you from Australia. I appreciate that. It does get me how young we buy our kids' cell phones. Now, I thank God that they wasn't invented like that back there when my kids were real young. But just think about that. I know for a fact people have talked about buying their kid's cell phone at like 10 years old. 9 or 10 years old. Oh, they got to have a phone because they play these games. Well, I'm going to tell you, folks, these games are full of pedophiles.
Yep.
They're full of it. They'll pose as kids. They'll try to get information. When we were working cybercrime detail, these people, and I'm going to tell you one particular case I thought about today. We were talking online. I was posing as a 13-year-old girl online. This guy was in another state. He kept trying to get my address. And I said, Mama don't like me to give out my address. And, I'm not giving out my address. And he said, what road do you live on? So I just made up a road out somewhere in the other part of town. I knew there wasn't, it could be 3 or 4 miles long, the road was. Are you in the upper section of the lower? In other words, he tried to narrow it down to an address. So I don't know what he had intentions of doing. Maybe intentions of going out on that road and riding up and down the road to try to find somebody that looked like the picture that we had put up. I don't know. And just crazy stuff like that.
Well, and parents posting pictures on Facebook of your children, your little boys and your girls cheerleading and football games and stuff. It's got the names of where they go to school at. Yeah. It's got the town you live in. People, it's crazy how much.
And try not to ever take a picture of your own tag on anything. Because even though police can run that any day, there is websites that you can pay money and you can get all that information. People Finder, you can pay $30, something like that, and you can run somebody by their name, their first name, last name, their year and I stop right there. I'll tell you something. Everybody on this stream, when we get off of it, go to your Facebook page, and if you got your complete date of birth on it, delete the year. It's okay to have your your month and date, but put the year as something like 100 years old or something, because if they have your name, your date of birth, they can find you at your house. They can find out what kids you have. They can find out your credit card. They can steal your identity if you just use your date of birth. And you'd be surprised how many cops do it too. I go to some of my friends' cops pages and I look, and they got their date of birth, their true date of birth on their Facebook page. Don't do that.
And another thing, do not, if you've got children or grandchildren, do not let people post pictures of the children half dressed. They think it's cute to take a baby out of a bathtub and take a cute little picture of those little roly-poly legs.
I'll tell you why with that. And if you do it now, just use this knowledge. It's all about knowledge, because pedophiles get off on that. They can see a little girl that doesn't have a shirt on. They get off on that. They use those pictures on the dark web. They'll manipulate them. They'll take the head and the top torso, and they'll manipulate those pictures. And I see all the time people take naked pictures of their children. If you do that, I guarantee your child's picture is on the dark web by pedophiles.
Being used for somebody to get off.
Use that some perversion that they use them with. And that's why I say, they talk about these young girls that do porn. That stuff is there forever. And people will copy those things hundreds and 400, 500, 600 times. It's out there forever. And so you take your child out of the bathtub, they're naked in the bathtub, and you got that video there. I promise you, some pedophile is getting off on that. And he's using that perversion of his mind. That's why you see them at the beach taking pictures of women with cameras. They are using that to pervert, that form of evil perversion. So all I'm saying is, do not. We warned a good friend of ours that had their kids online, had pictures of them in the bathtub, had pictures of them walking around naked in the backyard. And we told them, please don't do that. This is why. And they didn't believe us. They absolutely did not believe us. But I'm telling you, you can ask any, if you don't believe me, ask any FBI agent. That's all you got to ask. Any FBI agent. Because the FBI works child porn. U.S. Customs does and everything, but FBI works child porn. That's one of their big things. They work as child porn. So, I'm just telling you, from somebody that's seen it, you do not want to post your kids' pictures, naked pictures, especially online, because they will get off on it. They will see that and use it for their own pleasure and perversion.
Rhonda, I see the pedophilia, but what is the other one?
Hebephilia?
Yeah, what is that? I never even heard of that.
I haven't either. I might have heard of it, but not called that. You can look it up on Facebook.
I can Google it.
Google it.
Facebook. I can Google
it. Hey, welcome anyway, MH.
Oh gosh, Sarah, I didn't think about that.
What's that?
You can't even take a picture of your pedicure because there's feet fetish guys out there.
Yeah, feet fetish or hand fetish things. Yeah, you're right.
I can't wait for Jesus to come back. I ain't gonna worry about it.
Yeah, money in somebody else's name. Well, is he putting all his money in somebody else's name, Lisa? Do we know he is doing that in somebody else's name? Who would that be? Do you know? Because I haven't heard that.
It won't matter if he puts it in somebody else's name.
No, you're right. It's like this with the bankruptcy and inheritance law and the lawsuit. If, say, I think I'm going bankrupt next month or whatever, and I go and I put all of my stuff in my son or my daughter's name, they can still go back and get it. And it's like this. I'll tell you a little fact, because we ran into this when my dad fell when he was in his late 80s. He fell and broke his femur, and they put him in rehab to get well with that. Well, there were people at the rehab. Basically, it was a old folks home with a rehab facility on one side of it, and they told my wife and I, he's just going to have to stay. We'll release him, but he's going to have to come back. Y'all are never going to be able to take care of him the way he needs to be taken care of. And my wife told them, you don't know me, you don't know my father-in-law, you don't know my husband. Because I had vowed, not that it's a bad thing, don't get me wrong. It's not a bad thing to have to put your parents in nursing home. But I had vowed my father I would never do that. Because as long as I was able to take care of him, my wife was, we would try it at home. Well, they told us when we were talking to them all about this stuff, that we would have to write all of his property, any property he owned, bank accounts, everything, and put it in the nursing home's account. And anything we sold in the last 5 years would be subject to the seizure of the nursing home. So we could have sold his house. Say he had a house and we sold it for $200,000. The nursing home would get all that money.
Okay, but I would have never put my father-in-law there anyway. He was there for rehab. My father-in-law was my honeydew. When I married my husband, I got two. I had to be careful about what I said I wanted. One time I said I wanted a bench around a big tree we had in the backyard. And when I came back from coming to Tennessee to see my parents, it was around the tree.
Yeah.
I told him I wanted some wooden planters, and he built 12 before I had a chance to say, Pop, I don't need that many.
And listen, we're not saying anything bad about people that have to put their relatives
we just didn't
in
have
that
to do
facility. That. We just didn't have to do that because we had available to us my wife to take care of him in the daytime, and I take care of him at night. But he was in pretty good shape all the way up until he's probably 89 years old.
Yeah.
And then he started going down a little bit.
He didn't. Hey, just a hint. He didn't know he couldn't drive after the age of 85 because he would come to the steps and he'd say, "Hey, I'm going to the store. Do you need anything?" And I'd say, "Pop, I was just about to go. Can you give me 5 minutes?" And we'd go. I'd go downstairs and he'd say, "Well, come on, I'll drive." And I'd say, "Well, Pop, why don't you save your gas? Let me drive." He didn't know he couldn't drive for the last 7 years of his life.
Yeah. What did you say there, Fighting Crime? The Puma Path House is listed under the foundation's
Under
name?
Susan's foundation name.
Well, yeah. How can they do that? Because they did if they bought it under the foundation's name, is that, I wonder if that's to save taxes or to use that money, or, I don't understand that, how they could do that. I guess the board of directors for the foundation would be Suzanne and him. That is weird. Say, put her daughter's name and the daughter spin it. That's karma. Well, yeah, our checkbook, my dad's checkbook for years, I'd say 40 years, was in his and my name. And we did that so I could transfer money or he could transfer money to me. Or if he needed something in his later years, I could buy it for him and it wouldn't be no big deal. And for a while, I know my daughter's name was on one of our accounts. Is it still?
Yeah.
Okay. One of our bank accounts, my daughter's name's on there. So, you need to make sure that your children understand that you are still alive and well and all that. Change your date of birth, your year to something else, because people can steal that identity. And how many times have you been hacked? I've been hacked. The times that I'm not in Facebook jail, I've been hacked a few times. I post something on Facebook that Facebook doesn't like, and I've been in Facebook jail about 3 or 4 times. You can post something about police officers, like I posted stuff about police being, Blue Lives Matter or something like that, and they put me in Facebook jail for 3 days, where I can't post anything or anything. So the times I'm not in Facebook jail, I have been hacked about 3 times now. They could have gotten my date of birth if it had been the true and correct date of birth. And just think, a lot of times they can figure out your password from your date of birth. They'll go in, they'll do everything. My Instagram account got hacked out of Malaysia recently. And my password was unbelievable password. It was very strong. How they did it, I have no idea. So I changed my password again on all of my accounts. So, someone wants information from you, the middle name and birthday. Do you think they're trying to steal your identity? Yeah, absolutely. The thing is, if they're talking, just first off, never give your information on the internet unless you call them, not if they call you. I get calls all the time from a credit card that, or something like that, or something that I have, like, I don't know. I've got a call a couple of times from people, and I'll say, you know what, let me call you back. And they say, well, here's the number. I say, no, that's all right. I'll get it off your website. Because people will, what they'll do, they'll spoof that phone number, and it'll look just like, I had a call from the Social Security Administration the other day, and it was not the Social. I called it back.
Wait.
And it turned out to be somebody else.
The Social Security office called me, and it was a foreign-speaking guy, and he was Thomas or Steve or something from the IRS.
This is Steve from IRS.
No, not a Social Security card.
Yeah,
Social Security. And he said, your Social Security number is being used fraudulently. in another country. We need to cut it off. You need to give me your Social Security number. And I said, no, don't cut my Social Security card off. I gave it to those people to come to America. Please don't cut it off.
And they hung up. But that's what they are. They want you to verify your information. I had one call me one time. We're from so-and-so. We believe that your credit card has been hacked. We need you to verify some information for us. What is your last name? I said, gee, you want me to verify? Why don't you tell me what my last name was? Well, what is your date of birth? Well, sir, you're calling about, what credit card are you talking about? Visa. Well, you've got you say it's hacked. What's my Visa number? No, I do not ever give anybody my credit card number or anything unless I call them. If you call them, you're fairly safe. And if you pay for anything, pay for your stuff via credit card, because if it's a scam, you're going to have to pay it back. If you pay a debit card, it is sometimes impossible to pay it back. Thank you everyone for making this a wonderful community place. Yeah, I absolutely agree. But yeah, try to pay for things if you can with a credit card, because you can always protest it and get your money back in most cases. If you got a debit card, it is a lot harder to do that. My son's got a debit card and he's finding that out. And, we pay for stuff a lot on PayPal. That's a lot easier to do too. But you don't want to try not to pay for anything with a debit card, and also never give your Social Security number to anybody.
Beach Bum, don't hang up. Tell them that your Social Security number is not being used fraudulently, that you let those people borrow it.
I like to play with the scammers myself, and I know it's not a real good idea, but don't use your home phone to play with them, because I read somewhere a guy was using his home phone to harass the scammers, and they called the police and said there was a hostage situation at this house and this phone number, and they went out there and did it. Mandy, thank you so much. Mandy, I really appreciate that. Every little bit helps. Thank you very much.
Okay,
that is more than a little bit. Thank you very much.
So the story tonight that you need to tell, which will make them laugh, is our Steve.
Thank you, Mandy. I appreciate it.
Our Steve from the IRS, and the 45 minutes you kept him on the phone.
Yeah, that was. I actually played around with this guy for about 45 minutes, and finally he cussed me out, told me what I could do with the things the gift card that he was trying to get me to pay $1,700 on my income tax. He said I owed, and he was going to get the police to come out and knock down my door. I just want to tell you that will never happen from the IRS. If you get audited or you owe the IRS, they will send you a registered letter, and they will never come beat down your door unless you owe. Well, I'm going to say that there's one person that we've been in the news lately owns $50 million, and they haven't done a thing to him. Gift cards, never pay. The government's never going to ask you to pay anything with a gift card. It's just not going to happen. And if the one thing scam that's going around now too, they'll call you and say that this is the sheriff's department, and they've spoofed that number where it looks like the sheriff's department's calling you, and they'll say, we need you to go ahead and pay this online right now. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. They want you to pay this warrant online right now, or they're going to come arrest you at your house. At that time, you say, thank you, hang up the phone. Then you call the sheriff's department back and tell them about this. They will never do that. Sadly to say, they may come to your door and arrest you on a warrant, or if you get stopped speeding, that would be more likely to be arrested if they stop for speeding and you fail to pay a ticket, like a speeding ticket. Then the things that happen, like in these states, if you fail to pay a speeding ticket, they will revoke your driver's license or suspend it, and they will issue a warrant for your arrest.
Hello.
And that's just the way it is. Some states, other states that they don't care. They won't ever do anything. But I'll tell you about. You can hear my dog come in, my big lab come in. She's hot. She's panting. Hey girl, how you doing? Hey girl, yes, good Max. I had her ball today on the way home, and I was kind of teasing her with it. Man, she was fired up to get that ball. A little story about my dealings with Steve in the IRS. Get a call. He says, Steve, this is Steve from the IRS. And she hands the phone to me. I record this conversation too. I wish I could find it. I'd play it. He said, you owe $1,800 and you need to, in order for us to keep us from calling the sheriff coming and arresting you, you need to go to Kroger, which we don't have a Kroger in our town. Go to Kroger, get a gift card for $1,800 and read me the gift card number on the back. I said, well, we don't have a Kroger. You find Kroger. He gets mad. I said, okay, I'm going to Kroger. I hang up and call you back. No, don't call me back. Hang on, not now. So I acted like I was going to Kroger. I banged the door a couple of times. I acted like I was driving. I was talking to him about stupid stuff. And then finally I say, okay, I'm in Kroger. He said, go to the gift cards. I said, okay, hold on. And I thought of every company that I could. I said, okay, I'm standing in front of the gift cards. I got a Kroger gift card. I got an Applebee's gift card. I got a Lowe's gift card. I got a Home Depot gift card. And the guys kept trying to interrupt me. And I just kept on going to gift cards. And honestly, I named everything. I picked up the phone book in front of me and I was just looking through every name. I just went down and named every single gift card I could think of. Finally, he says, you just playing with me. You scamming me. I said, you're scamming me. What are you, like in Africa or somewhere? And he said, I take more money. I make more money in one day than you make in a year. That's what he told me. I said, scamming old people. He said, you Americans, stupid Americans. And I said, well, what do you want me to do with this gift card? He said, take the gift card and stick it up your, you know what.
Yeah, stop.
And then he hung up. But what I did was I kept him on the line for 45 minutes that he could not scam somebody else. But these people, they have no conscience.
Tommy and I have a great time at that.
Yeah,
we enjoy it.
Yeah, the car warranty thing. I had one call me about the car warranty thing, and I told him, I said, okay, yes, I need a warranty on my car. Yes, I do. And he said, well, what kind of car do you have? I said, well, I have a 65 Rambler, and I have a 55 Comet. And he said, he just starts laughing. He says, don't you have any newer car? I said, oh, yeah, I got a new car. I said, I love my car and all this. He getting excited about it. I said, I got a 72 Ford Fairlane. Oh, he just, he laughs. But I basically, you can't warranty those cars. He's trying to get me to buy, $500, $600 warranty for a car that, but the ones that call and say, your credit card is messed up or your credit card's been hacked, and they want you to verify information or they want you to tell them information, those are the people you really need to be careful with.
Hey, tell them the one about Tom Mabe.
Listen, I know you're on YouTube, so there's a comedian named Tom Mabe.
He is hilarious.
Mabe. If you go search it and you go search for the telemarketer.
It's DirecTV.
DirecTV telemarketer.
Tom Mabe.
Go search that. Go search. He basically, what he does, he keeps a recorder by his phone. And when one of these people call, no matter what time it is, he answers and he does this bit. And I'll tell you a little bit about this one in particular, because this is one of the greatest I've ever heard. This guy calls and he says, "This is DirecTV. We got this direct special." And the guy said, "Whoa, whoa, whoa. Did you know Mr. Mabe?" And he said, No, sir." He said, No, just stay with me now. See, this is so-and-so homicide, and we're on the scene of a homicide. Mr. May's been murdered. And then he said, "Well, no, I'll let you go." No, this call is being traced. And he goes on, and you just got to listen to this thing. It is hilarious. It is hilarious. And there's been some crazy ones, the phone pranks, but he has done some crazy stuff. He's almost got beat up a couple times too in his process, but he's done. Tom Mabe, Mabe is what you got to look up, Crystal. Tom Mabe. And it is one of the funniest stuff I've ever heard on there. I would not do it justice by telling y'all this whole story. You really just gotta go and listen to this whole tape.
Okay, Andy says watch Kit Boga on YouTube. That they mess with scammers too.
All right, I appreciate that. I will. I love it when the bad guy, the scammers that cost us so much money and steal identities and everything. I love it when they get the other way around. I got a email the other day from Wells Fargo. They said this big scam that I needed to do something with my credit cards because of the big scam of Wells Fargo. That's odd. I do not have a credit card from Wells Fargo, so that was weird. Yeah, absolutely. The IRS does garnish your wages. Yeah, you're exactly right. They go after you that way. Well, listen, it has been an hour and 26 minutes. I hope I haven't bored you too much tonight. We thank everybody for the super chats. We hope, if you will, to share these videos with your friends. We've since our last video, we've increased about 50 subscribers, so that is just awesome. We hope we can get you to share them with your friends. And if you're watching this later on and you're not a subscriber or your own channel now, please subscribe. It helps our channel so much. And if you can, my dog's sitting here nosing me. And if you can
clear to cover,
do a thumbs up, it'd be great too. Come here a minute, Maggie. Come here. Cover. Come here, cover. Come here, Maggie. And now she
come over here to
that.
me, and
she comes over to her.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to play this little video that we took the other day when we were up at the farm and some around the house. Let you know what kind of zoo that we are living in. And we love it. We absolutely love it. It was taken most of it was taken with a cell phone. But we're going to show you. I hope you enjoy it. And then we'll go to our outro. My dog.
Let her cover so she can be seen.
Come here. Cover.
Good girl.
Yeah. Okay. Good girl.
Love on her some. So she'll stay up there.
Stay up here. Yeah.
Maggie, look up here.
No.
Look here. Hey.
No, she doesn't want to. But anyway,
she's giving you sugar.
Hope to see y'all back on Tuesday. If something comes up in the meantime, we will, of course, break in. We cover everything, all of our people. I got to give blood on Monday, and I'm the biggest blood baby in the world. Say a little prayer for me. I am a huge baby when they talk about giving blood because they have to take it right there. They can't take it right up in here.
And he has been known to pass out.
I have been known to pass out, so I don't like passing out.
And my veins would be, Dracula would love my veins.
But got to do that on Monday, so it's just a regular thing. Do it every 6 months or 8 months for my doctor. And so far, it's been great, but I just do not like giving blood, people. I just would be a terrible drug addict. Okay.
Good thing.
Yeah, good thing. All right, see y'all back on Tuesday unless something changes and we need to tell y'all about.
MH, I will be there with him holding his hand. I take care of my baby.
And we hope to see you then.
No blood thinners.
God bless y'all, and have us safe from COVID and everything else that's out there and evil in this world. And we hope to see you, like I said, on Tuesday. I hope you enjoy this.
Ready?
He's just not as good at.
Ready? Good girl, Max. Good. You ready?
Gotta get down.
Down. You ready?
I know.